You're waiting for someone to care, aren't you? Waiting for that magical moment when the world suddenly wakes up and realizes just how special you are. How talented. How deserving. You're waiting for the spotlight to find you, for opportunity to knock on your door, for success to finally recognize your address. But here's the cold, hard truth that's going to set you free tonight. Nobody cares. And that's the most beautiful gift the universe has ever given you. Let that sink in for a moment. Nobody cares. Not your neighbors, not your coworkers, not even that barista who smiles at you every morning. They're all too busy caring about their own lives, their own dreams, their own struggles. You see, we're all starring in our own movies. We're all the main character in our own story. And just like you're not sitting there right now thinking about what your neighbor had for breakfast, they're not thinking about your unfulfilled dreams or untapped potential. But that's terrible. You might be thinking, that's the most depressing thing I've ever heard. Wrong. Dead wrong. This is your liberation proclamation. This is your permission slip to stop waiting and start living. This is the key to the cage you've built around yourself. Because when nobody cares, you're finally free. Free from the weight of expectations. Free from the paralysis of judgment. Free from the prison of other people's opinions. Think about it. How many times have you stopped yourself from taking action because you were worried about what others might think? How many dreams have you buried because you were afraid of looking foolish? How many opportunities have you let slip away because you were waiting for someone else's approval? And here's the real kicker. The people whose judgment you fear so much, they're not even watching. They're not even paying attention. They're too caught up in their own insecurities, their own fears, their own daily struggles to notice whether you succeed or fail. You know what keeps most people small? It's not lack of talent. It's not lack of opportunity. It's the mistaken belief that the world is watching their every move, judging their every decision, waiting to either celebrate their success or mock their failure. But the world isn't watching. The world doesn't care, and that's your superpower. Because when you truly understand that nobody cares, you realize that the only person whose opinion matters is staring back at you in the mirror every morning. The only judgment that counts is your own. The only approval you need is from yourself. Let me tell you something about success. Success doesn't care about your excuses. Success doesn't care about your background. Success doesn't care about how many times you've failed before. Success only cares about one thing. Are you willing to do what it takes? And here's where it gets really interesting. While nobody cares about your journey, everyone cares about results. Nobody cares about how many hours you spend at the gym, but they sure notice when you transform your body. Nobody cares about how many books you read or courses you take, but they certainly pay attention when you become an expert in your field. Nobody cares about your dreams of starting a business, but they can't ignore you when you're running a successful enterprise. The world is funny that way. It ignores the process, but celebrates the outcome. It overlooks the struggle, but applauds the victory. It doesn't care about your potential, but it can't help but notice your achievements. You want to know why some people seem to have it all? Why some people appear to move through life with an almost magical ability to turn their dreams into reality? It's because they understood this fundamental truth long ago. They stopped waiting for permission. They stopped looking for validation. They stopped expecting the world to care. Instead, they got to work. They embraced the freedom that comes with anonymity. They used the world's indifference as fuel for their fire. They turned nobody cares from an excuse into an advantage. Think about any great achievement in history. Every breakthrough, every innovation, every revolution started with someone who was willing to work in obscurity. Someone who was willing to persist when no one was watching. Someone who understood that the lack of attention wasn't a curse, but a blessing. In fact, the greatest progress often happens in the shadows, away from the spotlight, when nobody's watching and nobody cares. That's when you're free to experiment, to fail, to learn, to grow. That's when you can take bold risks without the fear of public judgment. That's when you can focus on the work instead of the recognition. And here's another truth that might just change your life. The less you need others to care, the more they will. The less you seek validation, the more respect you earn. The less you depend on external approval, the more internal power you develop. But let me be clear about something. This isn't about becoming cold or cynical. This isn't about not caring about others. This is about understanding that waiting for others to care about your dreams is like waiting for someone else to live your life for you. It's about realizing that the only person who needs to believe in your vision, what would you do differently if you knew nobody was watching? What risks would you take if you weren't afraid of judgment? What dreams would you pursue if you didn't need anyone's approval? These aren't just rhetorical questions. These are the keys to your future. Because once you embrace the freedom of nobody caring, you'll discover something remarkable. The only limits that truly matter are the ones you place on yourself. You see, most people spend their lives trying to get others to care. They post on social media hoping for likes. They make decisions based on what will impress others. They shape their dreams around what society deems acceptable. And in doing so, they give away their power. They surrender their authenticity. They trade their potential for approval. But not you. Not anymore. Because now you know better. Now you understand that nobody caring is not your obstacle. It's your opportunity. It's not your burden. It's your blessing. It's not your weakness. It's your strength. And here's where it gets really interesting. The moment you truly accept that nobody cares is the moment you find your real power. Because that's when you stop making excuses. That's when you stop blaming circumstances. That's when you stop waiting for permission. Let me tell you about two types of people in this world. The first type wakes up every morning wondering what the world will give them today. The second type wakes up wondering what they'll give to the world. The first type asks, why me? The second type asks, why not me? Which one are you? The truth is, most people are walking around with a lottery ticket mentality. They're waiting to be discovered, waiting to be chosen, waiting for their lucky break. And while they're waiting, life is passing them by. Opportunities are slipping through their fingers. Time, that precious, non-renewable resource, is ticking away. But you're different now, because you understand something they don't. You understand that nobody caring means nobody's coming to save you. And that's exactly why you're going to save yourself. Think about this. Every single day, you have 86,400 seconds. That's 86,400 opportunities to move closer to your dreams. 86,400 chances to prove yourself right or prove yourself wrong. What are you doing with those seconds? Are you spending them waiting for someone to notice your potential? Or are you spending them converting that potential into reality? Here's what happens when you truly embrace the power of nobody caring. You stop looking for shortcuts. You stop searching for the easy way out. You stop hoping for miracles and start creating them instead. You wanted to know what real freedom feels like. It's walking into a room and not wondering what people think about you. It's pursuing your dreams without asking for anyone's permission. It's falling down 7 times and getting up 8. Not because anyone's watching, but because that's who you've chosen to be. Let me share something with you about human nature. We're all living in 2 worlds simultaneously. There's the world appearance, what we want others to see. And there's the world of reality, what actually is. Most people spend their entire lives stuck in the world of appearance, constantly adjusting their behavior, their dreams, even their beliefs to match what they think others expect of them. But you're about to step fully into the world of reality. Because when you accept that nobody cares, you no longer need to maintain appearances. You can focus all your energy on what actually matters. The work, the growth, the progress. Think about the most successful people you know. Not just financially successful, but truly successful. People who are living life on their own terms. You know what they all have in common. They stopped waiting for the world to care about their journey and started caring about it themselves. They understood something profound. The world doesn't pay you for your time. It pays you for your value. It doesn't reward your intentions. It rewards your actions. It doesn't care about your potential. It cares about your results. And here's where most people get it wrong. They think success is about being seen, about being recognized, about being validated, but real success Real success happens in the dark. It happens in the early mornings when no one's watching. It happens in the late nights when everyone else has given up. It happens in the countless small decisions you make when there's no audience to applaud. You wanna know what separates those who achieve their dreams from those who don't? It's not talent, it's not luck, it's not even hard work, it's their relationship with obscurity. The ones who make it are the ones who can stay focused, stay committed, stay hungry, even when no one's paying attention. Because here's the beautiful irony. The less you need the world to care, the more the world is drawn to you. The less you seek validation, the more respect you command. The less you depend on others' approval, the more your confidence becomes magnetic. Let me tell you about the power of invisible progress. It's like building a house. For weeks, maybe months, all anyone sees is a hole in the ground. The foundation work isn't glamorous. It's not Instagram worthy. Nobody's going to like or share a picture of concrete being poured. But without that foundation, nothing else matters. Your life works the same way. The most important work happens underground, out of sight, when nobody's watching and nobody cares. It's the habits you're building, the skills you're developing, the knowledge you're accumulating, the character you're forging. And just like that house, one day people will see the results. They'll see the finished product, and they'll call it an overnight success, never knowing about the months or years of invisible progress that made it possible. But here's what's really exciting. While others are waiting for the world to care about their dreams, you're going to be building them. While others are seeking permission, you're going to be gaining momentum. While others are making excuses, you're going to be making progress. Because you understand something they don't. The world's indifference is your greatest asset. It means you can experiment without fear. You can fail without judgment. You can pivot without explanation. You can grow without pressure. Think about a garden. The most important growth happens underground, in the dark where no one can see it. The roots have to grow deep before the plant can grow tall. And those roots don't care if anyone's watching. They don't need permission to grow. They don't need validation to strengthen. You're in your growing season right now. And yes, it might feel like nobody notices. Nobody appreciates the effort. Nobody understands the struggle. But that's exactly why you're going to succeed. Because you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for you. Remember this, the world doesn't owe you attention. It doesn't owe you recognition. It doesn't owe you success. And that's the best news you'll ever receive. Because it means you're free. Free to define success on your own terms. Free to pursue excellence for its own sake. Free to become the person you know you can be, not the person others expect you to be. Here's what would happen. If you took all the energy you've been spending trying to get others to care and invested it in actually doing the work, what could you achieve if you stopped seeking validation and started seeking growth instead? How far could you go if you embraced the power of being underestimated, overlooked, and ignored? These aren't just questions to think about. These are questions to act on. Because the world is full of people waiting to be noticed, waiting to be chosen, waiting for their turn. But you're done waiting. The most dangerous lie we tell ourselves is that we need to be ready, that we need to wait for the perfect moment, that we need someone else's permission or approval to begin. But let me tell you something powerful. The world doesn't care if you're ready. It only cares if you're willing. You see, while everyone else is waiting to feel ready, you're going to be getting ready by doing. While they're waiting for the perfect moment, you're going to be creating perfect moments through imperfect action. While they're waiting for someone to believe him, you're going to be believing in yourself so hard that it becomes contagious. Here's a truth that's going to change everything for you. The people who seem to have it all figured out, they don't. The ones who appear fearless, they're scared too. The ones who look like they were born for success, they're making it up as they go along, just like everyone else. The difference is they stopped waiting for the world to care about their journey and started caring about it themselves. They stopped looking for guarantees and started embracing uncertainty as the price of opportunity. Think about water for a moment. When water meets an obstacle, It doesn't stop. It doesn't complain. It doesn't wait for permission to find another way. It simply flows around, over, or through whatever stands in its path. It doesn't care if anyone notices its persistence. It doesn't need recognition for its resilience. It simply continues moving forward, carving its path, shaping its destiny. That's who you are now. That's who you're becoming. Someone who understands that the lack of attention isn't a barrier to progress. It's an invitation to innovation. Someone who knows that obscurity isn't a curse. It's a laboratory for excellence. Let me tell you what happens when you fully embrace this truth. Your excuses expire. Your fears lose their grip. Your limitations reveal themselves as nothing more than self-imposed boundaries waiting to be crossed. Because when nobody cares, you're finally free to care completely. When nobody's watching, you're free to experiment, to fail, to learn, to grow in ways that would be impossible under the spotlight of constant observation. Think about any skill you've mastered in your life. Did you learn it by waiting for permission? Did you develop it by seeking constant validation? Or did you build it through countless hours of practice, through repeated failure, through persistent effort when no one was watching and no one cared? The answer is obvious, isn't it? Excellence isn't born in the spotlight. It's forged in solitude, tempered by dedication, and refined through persistence. The spotlight doesn't create excellence. It merely reveals what was built in the dark. And here's where it gets really interesting. The moment you stop needing others to care is the moment you start attracting their attention. Not because you're seeking it, but because authenticity is magnetic. Purpose is compelling. Excellence is undeniable. But by then, it won't matter. Because you'll have discovered something far more valuable than other people's attention. You'll have discovered your own strength, your own resilience, your own capacity for growth and achievement. You'll have learned that the opinion that truly matters, the only opinion that can either limit you or liberate you, is your own. You'll have realized that the approval you've been seeking outside yourself has been within you all along, waiting to be claimed. Let me share something profound with you. The world doesn't reward people for what they know. It rewards them for what they do with what they know. It doesn't celebrate potential, it celebrates performance. It doesn't care about your intentions. It cares about your actions. And that's exactly why nobody caring is your greatest advantage. Because while others are paralyzed by the fear of judgment, you're free to act. While they're caught in the trap of seeking approval, you're focused on creating value. While they're waiting for someone to notice their potential, you're busy converting your potential into performance. Think about the goals you've set for yourself, the dreams you've held close to your heart, the vision you have for your life. Now ask yourself, what would you do differently if you knew with absolute certainty that nobody cared whether you succeeded or failed? Would you play it safer? Or would you take bigger risks? Would you think smaller, or would you dream bigger? Would you wait for permission, or would you grant it to yourself? The answer to these questions holds the key to your future, because the truth is that certainty is already yours. Nobody cares. Nobody's watching. Nobody's waiting to see if you'll succeed or fail. And that's exactly why you're going to succeed, because you're not doing it for them anymore. You're doing it for you. You're not seeking their approval anymore. You're seeking your own excellence. You're not waiting for their permission anymore. You're claiming your own authority. This is your moment of truth. This is where you decide who you're going to be. This is where you choose between living by default or living by design, between accepting what life hands you or creating what you want from life. Remember, the world's indifference is not your enemy. It's your opportunity. The lack of attention is not your obstacle. It's your advantage. The absence of care from others is not your limitation. It's your liberation. Every morning when you wake up, you have a choice. You can wait for someone to care about your dreams, or you can care about them yourself. You can wait for someone to create opportunities for you, or you can create them yourself. You can wait for someone to believe in you, or you can believe in yourself so powerfully that it becomes impossible for others not to believe in you too. The truth is, success leaves clues. And one of the biggest clues is that those who achieve greatness don't wait for the world to care about their journey. They care so deeply about their own journey that eventually the world can't help but take notice. By then, it won't matter, because you'll have built something far more valuable than other people's approval. You'll have built your own unshakable confidence, your own undeniable competence, your own unstoppable momentum. So let them not care. Let them not notice. Let them not understand. Their indifference is your advantage. Their oversight is your opportunity. Their underestimation is your strength. Because while they're waiting for someone to care, you'll be busy caring about what matters most, becoming the person you know you can be, creating the life you know you can create, and achieving the dreams you know you can achieve. This is your time. This is your moment. This is your opportunity to prove that the only approval you need is your own. The only permission required is your decision to begin, and the only validation necessary is your commitment to excellence. The world doesn't care? Good, that means you're free. Free to dream bigger than anyone thinks possible. Free to work harder than anyone thinks necessary. Free to become more than anyone thinks likely. Your time is now. Your moment is here. Your opportunity is waiting. The question is, what are you going to do with it? Because nobody caring isn't your problem anymore. It's your power. Nobody watching isn't your curse anymore. It's your chance. Nobody noticing isn't your limitation anymore. It's your liberation. Now go. Go prove to yourself what you've known all along. That you don't need their attention to succeed, their approval to excel, or their permission to become extraordinary. Because the truth is, nobody cares, and that's exactly why you're going to win. You know what stops most people from achieving greatness? It's not what you think. It's not lack of talent. It's not lack of opportunity. It's not even lack of resources. It's their addiction to caring about what others think. Their dependence on external validation. Their need for constant approval. But you're different now. You understand something they don't. You see, while they're waiting for the spotlight, you're building in the dark. While they're seeking approval, you're seeking excellence. While they're hoping for attention, you're demanding growth from yourself. Every single person who has ever achieved anything meaningful started exactly where you are right now, with a dream that nobody cared about, with a vision that nobody understood, with a fire that nobody else could see. Do you think the greatest innovations in history came from people who waited for approval? Do you think the most profound changes in the world came from those who needed permission? Do you think the most inspiring transformations happened to people who were waiting for someone to care? No. 1,000 times no. They came from people who understood that the world's indifference was their greatest gift. People who realized that nobody caring meant nobody could stop them. People who recognized that being underestimated was their secret weapon. Right now, in this moment, you have a choice to make. You can keep waiting for the world to care about your dreams, or you can care about them so much that the world eventually has no choice but to notice. You can keep seeking validation from others, or you can become so good they can't ignore you. You can keep looking for permission to begin, or you can start now and let your results speak for themselves. Truth is, your dreams don't need anyone's approval. Your potential doesn't need anyone's permission. Your success doesn't need anyone's validation. What they need is you, your commitment, your dedication, your relentless pursuit of excellence when no one's watching and no one cares. Because here's what happens when you truly embrace this truth. You stop making excuses. You stop blaming circumstances. You stop waiting for the perfect moment. Instead, you start taking action. You start creating opportunities. You start building momentum. And day by day, step by step, action by action, you begin to transform. Not because anyone noticed, not because anyone cared, but because you decided that your dreams were too important to wait for someone else's approval. Remember this moment? Remember this feeling? Remember this truth. The world's indifference is not your obstacle. It's your opportunity. So let them not care. Let them not notice. Let them not understand. Your time is now. Your moment is here. Your opportunity is waiting. The world doesn't care? Good. That means you're free. Free to dream bigger than anyone thinks possible. Free to work harder than anyone thinks necessary. Free to become more than anyone thinks likely. This is your liberation. This is your permission slip. This is your moment of truth. Nobody's watching. Perfect. Now show yourself what you're truly capable of. Because when nobody cares, you're finally free to become who you were always meant to be. And that's how you win. Not by waiting for the world to care, but by caring so much about your own growth, your own excellence, your own journey that eventually, the world has no choice but to take notice. But by then, it won't matter because you already won. Not in their eyes, but in the only eyes that ever truly matters. Your own. Now go. Your future is waiting. And nobody caring is your greatest advantage of all. The stage is yours. The spotlight is waiting. The world is ready, even if they don't know it yet. Because while they weren't caring, you were becoming. While they weren't watching, you were growing. While they weren't noticing, you were transforming. And now you're unstoppable. Not because they finally care, but because you finally stopped needing them to. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your victory. Take it, own it, live it, because nobody caring. That was always your superpower. You just didn't know it until now. Go forth and be extraordinary. Not for them. And watch how the world changes. When you stop waiting for it to care, start making it impossible for it not to notice. Your time is now. Your power is endless. Your potential is limitless. And nobody caring? That's not your curse. That's your crown. Wear it well. Live it fully. Own it completely. Because your greatest story starts right here, right now, in this moment. When you finally understand that nobody caring was the greatest gift you ever received, now go make history. Your way, on your terms, for your reasons. The world isn't watching? Perfect. That's exactly how legends are born. Your time is now. Your moment is here. Your victory is waiting. Claim it. Own it. Live it. Because nobody caring, that's not your weakness. That's your wings. Now fly.